Who's the subject?
There's only one man charming enough to lure you in, steal your liver, and serve it with a fine wine.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hannibal Lecter, brilliant psychiatrist, sociopathic serial killer, and cannibal with a refined palate. Based on a real-life serial killer just as horrifying as Hannibal himself.
Hannibal the cannibal.
Although first depicted by Brian Cox in the 1986 Michael Mann film Manhunter, the character is best known by Anthony Hopkins' Academy Award-winning performance in the 1991 adaptation of Thomas Harris's novel, The Silence of the Lambs. According to Harris's later novel, Hannibal Rising, as a child, Lecter was traumatized when he witnessed Nazi collaborators murder and cannibalize his beloved sister. He is further shocked to learn that a meal his tormentors fed him was made from his sister's remains. Years later, Lecter methodically tracked down, tortured, and murdered each of the men who had killed his sister. In the process of taking his revenge, he lost all traces of his humanity. But what was the inspiration behind this complex character? The truth behind Hannibal Lecter was kept secret for years, until 2013, when Thomas Harris finally revealed his character was inspired by the real-life Mexican surgeon and murderer, Dr. Alfredo Bally Trevino.
Very frightened.
Their meeting dates back to the early 1960s, nearly 20 years before Harris would dream up Hannibal. On a writing assignment covering an American inmate, the author visited a small penitentiary in Monterrey, Mexico, where he coincidentally met Trevino, a quaint, intelligent surgeon that probed and coaxed Harris on details of the inmate's victims and the nature of torture. Harris describes the surgeon as having a certain elegance about him, and to his later surprise, the surgeon ended up being a convict himself. Trevino had been imprisoned after murdering his colleague and lover, Jesus Castillo Rangel, a fellow doctor who refused to give Trevino money. Vengeful and precise, Trevino had slit his throat with a scalpel, drained his body in a bathtub, and cut him to pieces, packaging his parts in a small box and burying the remaining pieces on a relative's farm. It was discovered after Trevino was caught that he was guilty for more than just Rangel. The surgeon had a penchant for killing and dismembering hitchhikers and solo travelers, people who he believed wouldn't be missed. When the police came to arrest him, he tried to bribe them with new cars and ownership of his pharmacy. Thankfully, they didn't comply. And while Trevino was originally sentenced to death, a loophole in the law at the time allowed his lawyers to commute the sentence, getting him 20 years in prison instead of the chair.
That was an especially nice touch.
Trevino did his time, known only to other inmates as Dr. Salazar, as he would often give impromptu surgeries to his fellow incarcerees free of charge. Though some of the guards described him as insane and said he would never leave prison, Trevino was released in 2009 and quickly resumed his practice as a surgeon, often working pro bono on poor or elderly patients.
All good things to those who wait.
While the rest of the world was unaware, Trevino knew of his inspiration on Red Dragon. Sources even say after he and his family saw Silence of the Lambs in theaters, his family began calling him Hannibal and Dr. Lecter, and Trevino found it funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Perhaps proof that he was just as close to Hannibal as Harris thought. Trevino passed away from cancer in 2009, but the effects of his horrific crimes will forever be immortalized in Hannibal Lecter. And like Hannibal, Trevino blended in as an educated, charitable member of society, and everyone went along, satisfying his unforgivable appetite.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.